So we've talked a lot about how these things go well and how well the two of you work together. And we have lots of examples of that. But let's be honest, and I think being honest is important. Not everything goes according to plan. Not everything goes correctly. So when things go badly, and they really go badly, like majorly, where's the breakdown? What causes that from your perspective?
Danny wasn't on the job.
Well, yeah, I can understand. I agree. Yeah. Is that all of our problems?
It's always nice to be missed, you know. Well, maybe he isn't so bad.
Yeah. So, in instances where Danny's out on the job, what are the issues?
Again, it comes back to communication and trust. So I think the issues come where the installer on site either doesn't know me or trust me enough to tell me what's going on that end. And I'm not as assertive as I should be sometimes. And so I'm not getting prompted to deliver the information that they need.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And from your perspective, when you don't get a chance to work with Susan, presumably that's where all your issues come from. But what?
Right.
It's pretty close.
Of course.
Well, what
it's not isolated.
What are the real issues? What are the problems that you see when you have big screw ups on the job site?
A lot of them have to do, like I said, with delays, manufacturer delays, or a lot of times we just have you walk into a building and it's not what was asked or what was promised, or it was just bullshit.
Yeah. Right.
You're just a little bit of lies and deceit. Some people will get you there way too early because they think they're going to make a schedule. Some schedules are great. Some are very optimistic.
Right.
And it's hard to fall in between those parameters.
So is that a breakdown of collaboration between you, the installer, and the office? So
it depends, like if we're in early enough and we have a relationship with the GC, if you can get in there and manage expectations and deliver on what your promises are, it's a lot easier.
Okay.
But when you're thrown in cold or you're picking up after somebody else, it can be very difficult.
And when you've been on a job where it's sort of just going badly, it doesn't matter what happens, you can't have any luck for having bad luck kind of thing. How do you get through that? What are your strategies for getting through a job like that?
I'm just
and drinking.
Trying to drink. I'm just trying to think of the last time we had a major issue. Like we've had manufacturing issues where we use the old adapt and overcome.
Yeah.
Which ways can we overthink this to get through it?
Yeah.
Like we were up north on a project and all the material came damaged.
Yeah.
Every single piece of it. And we worked with the tech reps and some other people and came up with some solutions because sending it back wasn't an option.
Right.
So we figured out a way to make it work and be able to warranty it, and we moved on.
What about expectations? What about unrealistic expectations or deadlines or pressure? I mean, is that something that you have to deal with?
Unrealistic deadlines sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's just, then that's one of the things that drives me. Can I actually do it? Well, which way can we figure this out to do it so we can actually meet a deadline? And I think that's part of the challenge that I like. I like that kind of stress where there's a little bit of push.
Yeah.
So it helps drive me. But that was tough. I think that's the best I can say. Like I like a little bit of pressure, but if there is a schedule that is unrealistic, we have to manage those. And that's when we'd fall back on you guys to have our support me and our team saying that's not realistic. You can't just ask the world of somebody when it's not ready, or the space isn't ready, or the walls, or anything that we need, all the precursors that we need to do our job. So,
what about you? What do you think?
Which question?
All of them.
I had a run-on sentence there. So
But so if your installer is seeing sort of unrealistic expectations as it relates to schedule or manpower or whatever might be going on, how do you handle that, or how do you provide support to the site?
Managing the GC, I think, is my role after we're already on site, is just managing those expectations. And as long as the communication flow is there, I can't manage it if I don't know what's happening.
Yeah. And so the two of you work really well together. I think we've established that. How do you extend that beyond just the dynamic between the two of you? So extend that to the team in our office, or to our clients or customers, or the other trades that might be working on a job site. Is there strategies that you've done to try to extend the collaboration?
Yeah. I mean, it's all about how you're sharing information and when.
Right.
And I guess we're putting policies in place to try and make those things happen.
Yeah, I think being open, honest, and front-loading the expectations and doing that the way to manage is the best way to do it.
Yeah, you talked a lot about trust and honesty, and I think
Yeah.
construction sometimes gets a reputation for not being an open and honest and transparent
Yeah.
industry, and so it's interesting to hear you use that type of language consistently.
I think it's just when I say honesty, it's honesty on our behalf. So if I say I'm going to do something, I'll do it, and if I can't do it, I will tell you why.
Right.
So
What about on the technical side? I mean, we'll often get calls from our clients, general contractors or whoever, that say, hey, we need you to help with value engineering, or we need to find a more efficient or cost-effective way to do something. Is there an opportunity for the two of you to collaborate on something like that? And what does that look like?
Well, yeah, of course there is. We're always trying to be creative and look at different ways that we can find cost savings for everybody. An example of that would probably be something like floor leveling. Like if we're doing a small space, we have a standard price.
Yeah.
But when we're talking about big open areas, we can look at it differently and approach it differently with input from the trade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's something you and I have worked on in the past.
Oh, for sure.
And trying to find cost-effective ways to make sure that it's still fair for the installation piece of it, but it's maybe not exorbitant on the client side to balance it. Really.
yeah, because I understand that too. There's budgets, and everyone has those limitations, and they have to stick with it. And we want to see us, I guess, giving us the ability to give them the best product that we can.
Right.
So sometimes we'll take a little hit on labor if we know it's going to move the job along faster, to give a better result. And I'd rather walk away feeling good about something by maybe not making as much on something, but knowing I did it right.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, you make a good point. I mean, at the end of the day, you're running a business. You're a contractor. And so what are the things from a collaboration standpoint that our office can be doing that helps, make you more profitable, make you more money when you go into a job?
having everything ready.
Yeah.
Getting there, laying all the groundwork before we get there. Knowing when we're going to start, not just, come in and do this, and then the job doesn't start for 3 months after that. Giving realistic expectations to them. And I know they're going to get pushed back, but if you can mitigate that and help us, like rolling and being able to walk onto a job and start working without a ton of doing all the background, this that needs to be done, that needs to be done. We need prep money for this. This product can't go there. All those things that can slow you down and become constraints.
Yeah.
So.
It's good. This just came to mind. We had a job where you were doing the installation for us, the children's cottage, and there was a discrepancy between our estimating team and the way that you laid out the material on site.
Yeah.
And to me, that was a breakdown of the communication and the collaboration between our office and you guys on site, because we had laid out the material and done the estimate in a particular way, and then you did it the way that you would just normally do it without thinking otherwise. And in the moment, it occurred to me that, hey, this was completely preventable. It was just a communication thing. And so when you learn those types of lessons, do you apply them on a go-forward basis?
I do, and that's one thing I asked for. If I want to talk to the estimator, how did you lay this out? Because I never want to be short.
Right.
It's just I think that's a point of pride. It's something, if you feel you have enough to cover the floor, I want to make sure that we do the same. So.
Yeah, okay.
And I do check-ins.
Right.
Have partway through the project, do you have enough material? Are we going to be short? Because you don't want to,
We did
run
into one other issue on that site, but that was due to weather.
Weather, yeah. That was the one that we couldn't use a helicopter to get the material.
Yeah. Weather might have got us a bit on that too. Well, these are staying here over the weekend.
It would impact flooring installation. We were supposed to do that inside.
The biggest thing is, like Susan said, is just daily communication, checking in to see what we need.
I think so. I mean, and I also think people don't pick up the phone and talk to somebody. Like it's a email or if you have nothing to say, you don't just call. But if I have nothing to say, I'll still call. Like we still,
That part's the respect part. I understand email and having it in written form, whether it's digital or not, that conveys it sometimes, because I'll get long-winded and I'll get off base.
Not you.
Yeah, but that's okay, because I think the more that time we spend and get to know each other, the more trust
that was
there
one
is.
of our rules. You can't just do it by what I say. We have to write it down.
Yeah.
I don't care how you do it.
And you initial it right here. That's what you told me.
I don't believe I did that.
Daily conversations where you're conveying information back and forth, is that mostly happening over the phone then?
Yeah.
I'm still a little old school when it comes to phone. I don't text that much. I feel it serves its purpose, but I think the interpersonal and of actually picking up the phone goes a long way.
And you don't feel the need, either one of you, to sort of put it into writing to cover your ass? Like, it's,
Oh yeah, that was the other part.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it has to be a twofer. So I'm that way. It'll come into my brain and I'll want to solve it. And so sometimes, because it's having a phone or an iPad, I always have my phone, but an iPad and things I have to sit down and write an email. I'll do it quickly and make a phone call, and then if we do a text to back it up or an email, that makes sense to me.
Okay.
Then it's just not something I'd wing and prepared it or off the cuff.
But when you're talking about this daily communication, that's a phone call check-in. That's
Yeah,
just
I think that's a little bit different when you're on the project. Like, how is this going? It's A, B, C, D. Are we working our way down the line? Is everything going the way it's supposed to?
Yeah. Did
Gives you a
get-
little bit of chance to. I think it helps project managers buy in a little bit to the project too, because once sometimes they move down the channels, and the other cogs in the wheel start moving, they can become a little disconnected from it.
Right.
So.
Right. What about unexpected issues? I mean, we've talked about sort of planning and coordination and all of that kind of thing, but things pop up, and they pop up at inopportune times. I mean, you go to roll out the last line of lino, and it rolls and rolls and rolls, and then it stops about 12 inches short of the wall and where it's supposed to go. What does that look like? How do you solve those types of problems?
Oh, they're the tougher ones, because most of the materials we work with are long lead times, right? So
Right.
that's just one of the things you try to do your best at it. And if you do have to go back or any of that, it's a tough one. I don't like going back to I don't like being short. Use that one. I prefer manufactured defects. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there things that you can do to prevent that, so that when you're not finding that out on the last day of the job when they're supposed to turn it over the very next day?
Well, inventory. Keeping a proper inventory is huge, I think, on all of our projects. Knowing what you have, knowing what you've used. And if knowing what you used is more than what the area is allowed for, and that's thing, just checking in before the end. Knowing that everything we use is 16 to 18 weeks sometimes.
Yep.
If your burn rate is higher than you think it should be, deep dive on that. Just to see why it's happening, see if there's something we can mitigate it, and then go from there.
And does that fall, in your view, completely to you on site, or how does that get split between you on site and back to the office?
You guys, with your estimating core that you guys have, they're decent guys. They know what they're doing. So I trust their expertise as well. So I see that they have enough. I'm going to do my darndest to make sure we do too.
Right.
And that's where, if I'm talking about if something's not lining up from their estimate to the actual on-site install, that's where I'm going to put my hand up and I'm going to make a phone call.
So collaborating with that piece of the business and,
Yeah.
and going through those drawings and making sure that you've got a...
And that has to be with you guys on the amount of money you invest in your softwares and your estimating programs and the way it lays it out. Share that information with your installers.
Right.
You don't have to talk dollars and cents, but all the way how you got your numbers, share that with the guys. It'll help them in the long run, because they'll be able to understand how your estimators think.
Yeah.
And how they take jobs off, because they do it. We all have our own little tips and tricks, but if you have to stay in the guidelines to make sure you have enough material to do the job, I think that goes a long way.
But on the other side of that coin,
Yeah.
when you're looking at those plans, it helps us if you let us know it's laid the wrong way. Like,
Oh,
can I
exactly.
lay it this way? What am I going to be out? Do we need more material? Is it going to work? Because this is a better approach.
Yeah. Is it easier to install?
Yeah.
Does it make more sense? 'Cause
Yeah.
we did that a little bit on a couple of the other things. We look at it and I think this makes more sense. And that's just collaborating in the beginning before you've signed off on your final quantities.
Well, and I think we're guilty of if we do share the drawings with our installers, sending them, with the work order the week before the job is scheduled to start. And at that point, the seaming diagram has been approved,
Yeah.
the material has been ordered, the quantities are all locked in. There's not much we can do
No.
in terms of layout. To get feedback from an installer, to your point, 16 weeks before we're scheduled to go to site,
Yeah.
to go through, hey, does this layout make sense to you? Is this
Yeah.
how you would do it? That's a piece that
And all that
we have to change.
all that it takes
We
is a
do
quick send us some prints and we'll take a half hour or an hour reviewing them to see if it all makes sense.
Right.